everybody to the 2022 New Mexico Games opening ceremonies. We are super excited because we are bringing back basketball after 3 years, so that's super exciting for me and us and all of us. So great job to everybody. I'd like to first acknowledge our sponsors and partners and thank them so much for all they've done for us, their support. Albuquerque Sports Commission, City of Albuquerque Parks and Recreation, Screen Images, Visit Rio Rancho, Frontier Restaurant, Golden Pride Barbecue, Hunter Barrow Lumber, New Mexico Gas Company, Clark's Pet Emporium, Proview Networks, U.S. Eagle Federal Credit Union, Minerals Technology Corp, Paddle Tech, New Mexico Runners, Presbyterian Health, Archery Shop, Duke City Cornhole, Visit Las Cruces, Marty Size State Farm, Legacy MMA, Ultimate Ninja Obstacle Gym, Costco, 10 Pins and More, USATF New Mexico, USTA, and Design and Print. So thanks to our sponsors, and we appreciate all your support. My name is Andres Trujillo, Executive Director of the New Mexico Games, and I just got to tell you, it's been a long time coming to get back to full strength for the New Mexico Games. You know, the pandemic hit hard, shut down completely in 2020, and that was a tough one. And then trying to figure it out for 2021 was extremely difficult because we didn't know when the state was going to open, how we were going to put on events. But we were able to overcome that, and we put on at least 10 in 2021. So that was really neat and really cool. And our board has worked really hard to get us to where we're at here today. So with that being said, I'd like to recognize our board of directors here this evening. We have President Terry McMillan. Give her a round of applause. Tony Gilbert, our vice president. Megan McMillan, our secretary. She's down there taking our admissions. Geraldine Klein, treasurer. All right, Ken Mladnick. I don't know, I think I said that right? Is that pretty close? Okay. Hugo Ramirez, Adele Thompson, Sterling Donner, Ed Nunez, and Marlene Apodaca. Now, one of the things that we've worked really hard to make this happen, and I can't stress that enough. And you know, basketball is a heart and soul of the New Mexico Games. It's been going on since 1989, so that's really something to think about. And when people think about New Mexico Games basketball, Memorial Weekend, oh yeah, they know it's on. They go for the gold. And that's really important here as we're back at it after being on hiatus for 3 years. So with that being said, I'd like to show you guys our medals and shirts this year. It's a Zia style shirt with our New Mexico Games Roadrunner mascot, and of course we have our gold medal, our silver medal, and our bronze. And this year our medals are themed with the balloons. I don't think we've ever had a balloon design medal. Any board members can remember a balloon design medal? So that's kind of cool that we've done something different. And of course we use the color turquoise, red, and gold New Mexico colors, okay? And I gotta give a shout out to Megan McMillan because she wanted glitter in the middle of it, and so it looks really nice when you shine it in the light. So, and in the middle we have our torch, and that's actually a sun catcher, so you can actually hold up in the sun, and it brightens up, and it looks like the flame lifting up the balloon. So kind of symbolic when we say lifting up the New Mexico Games and getting back to full strength and new heights. So there's our medals and our shirts. And so it's really cool, and we're really excited to feature these here today. We are now ready to introduce our guest speaker here. And she's going to be lighting our torch, and of course it's LED, so we're inside. So just so you guys know, it's all for fun. We want to make sure that the spirit of competition is lit all weekend long. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Coach Lisa Villareal, two-time back-to-back girls high school basketball champion from Volcano Vista High School.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to thank the board of directors for having me. This invite is something special for a small town girl from Alcalde, New Mexico, where dreams are big. Looking at the New Mexico Games, it's awesome to be back after a shutdown that we had no idea was coming. It's awesome to take a look around at the new facilities here at Johnson Gym. The renovations are great. If you have a chance, please come out and support the New Mexico Games. I want to thank Ed Nunez for the invite and Andres Trujillo as well. Like I said, it's an honor to be here. Thinking of New Mexico Games and so many teams, how they prepare to kick off their summer, Memorial Day weekend has been that for many, many, many years. Growing up, starting in my early years of coaching, I brought teams here. This is where we kicked off our summer. And it was such great competition, whether it was an AAU team or whether it was my high school varsity team and JV. So to see that it's made a comeback as well as it looks, and it's going to be kicking off soon, I just want to talk about, I touched upon AAU. My AAU back in the early 70s, late 70s, early 80s, my AAU was in the backyard with my cousins and my neighbors. All of this stuff is fantastic to have here. The opportunity that these kids have right now is exactly what it is, an opportunity. And as a coach for the youth of the last 18 years, we talk about seizing the opportunity, no matter in what capacity. As I've been a coach for 18 years, 4 of which were up in northern New Mexico, and the last 15 have been here at Volcano Vista in the metro area. COVID hit us at a time where sports were thriving, everybody was living the dream, and it hit us the night we started hearing my girls basketball team was in the 2020 state championships, and we had just finished our quarterfinal game. We won that one, and there were rumors about the shutdown, and everybody's asking me up in the stands, Coach, is it true? Are the girls going to play? We heard there are no fans. They're hitting me with all these questions that I had no idea about. I had just finished coaching a game. So the reality of it was they shut us down, and to be told that your team that just won the quarterfinals was going to play in the semifinal game of the state championship with no fans, wow, what a slap to us all. Parents were devastated, players were devastated, I was devastated. My family has been involved in the game of basketball for many, many years. So to overcome that, we all of a sudden became each other's biggest fans. I still go back and look at video on my phone when we played with no fans. It was so quiet. I've never heard the pit that quiet in my life. It was something to remember, we'll never forget. I guess luckily at the time we didn't have to play with masks, but we knew they were soon coming. To see the celebration of these girls win in the locker room to get to their state championship game was unmatched. It was just something great. We tried to film it as best as we could for parents and family and friends, and just capture those moments of just the unknown. Unfortunately, that year we lost the state championship, but we had a young team coming back, and we still didn't know what the future held. We just knew that we were in shutdown, tournament was over, and we just had to sit and wait and find out what the new protocols were going to be, what it was going to take to get back on the court. So, we just kind of took the summer off as a coach. It was kind of much needed. It was I was in a position where, wow, for the first time in almost 20 years, I don't have to do basketball in the summer. Wow, I could just stay home and relax. At first, it was kind of nice just, to unwind from the pressures of everyday basketball, because nowadays it's every day to prepare your teams. It doesn't change from that. So once we heard the shutdown for schools was going to happen and people were going virtual, it started to sink in a little bit more that, gosh, we might not have a season this coming year. It's getting really, really bad. So seeing my girls via Google Meets with their cameras off, it was too hard for them to face the reality of us being in a shutdown and having something they were so passionate about be taken away from them. It was the hardest thing, and as I talk, I get emotional about it because they couldn't turn their cameras on because of how hard it was hitting them. And to be honest, I'm glad I didn't see them, because at that point I shut my camera off so I could address them. And it was just, at that moment, you had to figure out, how do you keep them engaged? We can't even see each other other than a Google Meet, a FaceTime. Checking in with them was probably the best thing I could do for their social, emotional well-being. They needed to hear from their coach that I had their back, no matter what. We were going to try our darndest to get out and get them to play. We would watch inspirational videos. I would ask them to come up with something so that we could all just spend time together. And at that moment, you know, we were already online for about 2 months when they said, you can practice in pods of 3. So we got to the gym, and who comes to the gym if not my varsity? A lot of the younger girls were kind of like, no, coach, I'm not comfortable. I live with my elderly grandparents and so forth. So we were in pods of 3 at each basket. And after every practice, I mean, you couldn't do a whole lot but shoot and play games and have competitions all spread out throughout the gym. So when we did that, it was nice. I think the first day we walked in, I brought the balls out, but the girls just sat in a circle 6 feet apart, and they talked. And that was, I just stood back, let them have their time, because they needed it. They needed each other, they needed their coaches, and we, at the same time, needed them. So going from that season, you know, and then we shut down again. We couldn't see them for a while. And it was still, coach, are we going to play? I have no idea. There's nothing more I can tell you. So when we got that news in March that schools were opting to play and whatever options they were giving us, while APS was already behind the 8 ball because they weren't sure with as many schools as there are in the district, I get that. But at the same time, we just had to stay ready. So when they let us come back to school in April, my girls chose not to come to school because they didn't want to get infected with that virus and sit out 2 weeks. That was going to be our season. So they chose to remain virtual while I went to work. It was nice to see them during my class period. That's the only time I would work with them. And during that time, it was just so nice to finally get to play the game that they grew up playing. We were given 10 games to play, and I had a special group at the time. They grew up together playing AAU, playing New Mexico games all of the years growing up since they were 8 years old. I had a special group, and I just wanted them to get to that state tournament again. As sophomores, they played for the state title. They knew what it took to get there. And I tell you, those practices were amazing. Not only were they glad to be around each other, the work ethic that they put forth was second to none. They were on a mission. And if you all remember seeing that buzzer-beating, game-winning state championship half-court shot, na-na-na, na-na-na, ESPN, how can you not love making the top 10? You know, I think we're second in ESPN's top 10. And Natalia Chavez will always be remembered for that shot, as well as the Volcano Vista Lady Hawks, going 13-0. And, you know, after the game, the celebration, I'm thinking, God, we were just in pods of 3 at practices, and we're ending the season in a dog pile at half court. I'm sure everybody was just loving that moment, but at that point, we didn't care. It was awesome. I still get the chills from it, and what a beautiful thing. So, you know, after this season, they're like, what now, coach? We just went undefeated, we won a state title, buzzer beater, what next? How can we top that? I said, you know, what's never been done at Volcano Vista is we've never had a back-to-back. And they looked at me and they said, "We got it, coach." And so from that moment, I tell you, they seized that opportunity because something so precious to them that meant so much was almost taken away. So they will take this with them and live it out and tell their kids, their grandkids about it. And they'll see that picture winning the state title with our masks on, and it'll always be, why were you wearing that mask? So these times will never be forgotten, but you know, and lo and behold, the girls just work their tails off. Right now, we won our second state championship, and all credit goes to them because they really, really put in the work, the efforts that it took to be there each and every day. Their families made it happen for them, and I couldn't be more proud of them. But you know what? The Lady Hawks are not done, and we're going to make another run, hopefully. So we're going to try our darndest. And so it's awesome to be here. Thank you so much. The New Mexico Games are what make New Mexico proud. I know the board of directors, you work year in and year out putting this together, and from a coach's standpoint, thank you very much, because the girls that I talk to that have been a part of this, they love it. It's something that they are proud to be a part of. I know several of my girls have been champions here at the New Mexico Games, and to be honest, I'm sure I see quite a few people that I recognize already, and I just can't wait to get these games started because it means so much to New Mexico. So let's get these games started.
Awesome. Let's give another round of applause for Coach Villareal. This is awesome. All right, so because we're indoors and we're not outdoors, and of course we got to be fire cautious and whatnot, we are actually going to be lighting the torch digitally, and we have our digital torch here, and let's light that. All right. So, without further ado, Coach Villareal, let's kick the games off. And there we go. The New Mexico Games torch is lit. It'll be lit in the spirit of competition all weekend long. So again, thank you guys so much. Coach Villareal, thank you so much for speaking. That was an amazing speech and very inspirational, and especially this is your element, basketball. And so, I mean, many of us are basketball folks at heart. It's New Mexico, and so our sponsors, our partners, our board of directors, and everybody here putting this on, from our scoreboards, our clock operators, our referees, officials, our commissioners throughout the entire year. So 20 sports this year in the New Mexico Games. So NewMexicoGames.org, get on out there, and let's go play, and let's have some fun, and go for gold. Thank you guys so much. Let's kick this off.